So I decided to try this Mists of Pandaria remix. Because basically my brother-in-law was playing it the other night and he was actually having a lot of fun with it. And I was like, man, I didn't want to try it because I was kind of like, I don't think it's going to be that great. And I was like, he's having fun with it. So I'm like, fuck it, I should play it. I have a subscription anyway. Like, why the fuck not, dude? So I decided, I made a Night Elf Monk, and I named it Oreo because I thought that was hilarious, and now I think it's incredibly stupid. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is about what I expected it to be. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. This well, okay, so here's where we get into the here's why I wanted to make this video in the first place. Does it suck? No. I don't really think it sucks. Here's the thing. I think I left a comment on a Nixium video. I'll link that because he does a pretty nice he did a nice video about this, kind of his first impressions with it. So there's definitely flaws with it. There's things I agree and disagree with as far as Nixium's video is concerned, but we're not here to talk about that. Here's my thing with it. I went into it knowing, well, assuming, I guess, it's probably going to be retail WoW, but you're in Pandaria, and you're, you know, they do have the little spins on it. They have, like, whatever the fucking gems do and whatnot, but, like, you have the little power-ups. I have this sprint ability, which, you know, it's kind of fucking stupid, but, you know, it's something. It's something. Here's the thing. I like this, not sprint. Sprint fucking, you know, it's whatever. It's a fine ability, but it's not, like, game-breaking. Here's the thing. I've never played Season of Discovery, but Season of Discovery, oh, here we go. We got, fucking Disengage, yeah, of course. So, that's actually really cool. They give you, like, different class abilities, and you can just, you know, you can build, you know, I'm a monk, and I have the sprint ability, which is a rogue ability. Disengage is a hunter ability. That's, you know, their movement, they're not, like, I have to fight you? Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember you from, like, fucking years ago. ZZ. Well, ZZ Top is now dead. Alright, so yeah, this is a cool thing, definitely. Getting to build, like, other class abilities on your class. Granted, Season of Discovery adds, like, totally new shit, like the chronomancy thing for wizards, or mages, excuse me. Mages can now be a healer. And that's sick as fuck. What is this? I don't know, just use it, who cares. So, that's, like, sick as fuck. But here's the thing with this. So far, I've only gotten Sprint and now Disengage. And those abilities kinda suck. Well, they don't suck, but they're not gonna change the monk class for me. Like, I already have roll. I already have a movement ability. If they threw me... In Nixium's video, I said, like, you know, I got Sprint. If they threw me, like, Arcane Missiles, for instance, that would be cool. That would be, like, a total, like... That would be something I could actually work into my rotation and whatnot. That would be pretty interesting. I don't know if you actually get abilities like that later on or not. I just leveled up. Cool. I don't know if you ever get stuff like that. Oh, I found a belt. That's sick. What did I get? What is it called? Ghost Fox. Okay, y'all remember the Ghost Wolf in Dragonflight? The Dragonflight Sucks video? You guys remember that one? No. Yeah, no, we found his belt. This is it's Fubuki! It's a Ghost Fox! Fly to a nearby. That's a druid ability. So it's all, like, movement stuff, which that sucks. Like, I don't want movement stuff. Bring back a player from the dead. I literally have that. But if I was, like, a warrior, that would be nice to have just on, like... If I was, like, grouping. Not that you ever fucking die in these anyway, but still, like, that's something. So, yeah, I hope, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, I hope I get, like, actual combat abilities to throw into here, because that would be really cool. So far, it's just movement stuff, which that's a huge buzzkill. In my opinion, that's a huge buzzkill. I would rather they just didn't give me abilities at that point, because you're really blue-balling me here. So, alright, so good point for the... Sorry, making sure the snake is eating. So, big ups for the game, adding new abilities from other classes onto your class. That's cool, I like that. Season of Discovery did really well with that. from what I've seen. I've never played it, but I have been playing Classic WoW. I just haven't been playing Season of Discovery. So that's good. That's a good up point. That's an up vote from me to this. A down vote would have to be... It's only movement abilities right now, so that sucks. But maybe later on we actually get combat abilities. I don't know. I have to get there. I am giving it more of a go than just, like, playing it once, you know, for, like, one session. I will try to reach max level on this. I don't think it should take terribly long. I could be mistaken, but we'll find out. The cloak. Where the hell is the cloak? It's up here somewhere. This thing, the Time Runner. The cloak's pretty cool. I mean, it just upgrades as you play the game. My only thing with this, again, I called it from the beginning. I knew it was going to be a thing. It's basically still just retail. Gameplay-wise, it's still retail WoW. I am not a big fan of retail WoW at the moment. And as far as Dragonflight, I know I've given Dragonflight some shit, and I've also... It has its ups and downs, but here's the thing. I don't think Is there more to this? Jesus. I don't think Dragonflight... I was thinking about this yesterday and this morning. I don't think Dragonflight inherently is the bad thing in WoW. Because I was thinking about it. I'm like, what exactly is it that I don't like in this game? And I think, because playing Classic WoW, it made me really think. I found like a big issue that I have with this game, and it's the class identity. And what does that mean? Well, I was trying to think of ways to put it into words, and I found a really good example. Let me see if I can remember it now. Basically, what is it? What is this? I'm sorry. Tinker Gem, I don't know. Anyway, so... Okay. Crit Armor Master. I'll take that. No. So here's a good way to put it. You take a Fury Warrior. So I played a lot of Warlords of Draenor, for instance. You take a Fury Warrior. Fury Warrior, basically, you charge in, you build some Rage, you use Bloodthirst, hopefully you end Rage, and then you can use Raging Blow, and if you have enough Rage resource, you can use Wild Strike, which is like a fast global cooldown ability that just does a lot of damage. So you would generally, you'd charge in, you smack Bloodthirst, if you enrage, you hit Raging Blow, you hit Wild Strike. It's just a, you know, that's how you do it. And then you basically auto-attack to get your Rage up, and then you continue using your abilities that way. Now look at, what is it? Balance Druid. Balance Druid back in Draenor. You had like an eclipse meter thing in your screen, so it would move over to the moon, and then it would move over to the sun, and then it would move back to the moon, and basically, whichever side of the eclipse was on your screen are the abilities you want to use. So you want to use solar abilities when the sun is up, and you want to use lunar abilities when the moon is up. Pretty self-explanatory. And yet I could never grasp the concept of playing that class. Big fucking skill issue. So cut to Legion, and this is where I started realizing something really bad about Legion. And I love Legion. It's so good. I probably have to go down there. I love Legion. But here's a problem I noticed with Legion. And this has to do with the class identity. When Legion came out... Now, granted, Fury Warrior, still kind of the same thing. They changed Wild Strike into Rampage, so now you basically, you don't use Wild Strike, now you build Rage and you spend it on Rampage. And Rampage also automatically enrages you, so the class actually got easier. Because you would always be enraged now. You're always enraged. There's no waiting for enrage. You are always enraged. If you're not always enraged, like 99% of the time, you're doing something wrong. And you probably fell asleep at your keyboard. Like, it's stupid easy. Now, granted, Fury Warrior still plays like a Fury Warrior. You're just mashing buttons, you're getting your enrage up, you're spending that resource on that spender. Now, cut back to Balance Druid. And this is still Balance Druid today, still does this. Balance Druid no longer has that balance meter in the middle of your screen where you gotta use the lunars, you gotta use the sun spells, now you gotta use the, what is going on in this game? You gotta use the sun spells, now you use the moon spells, now you use the sun spells. Like, it no longer does that. There's no longer that balance feel to it. Like, it felt like a balance druid, because you have to balance out which spells you're using, and it changes every few seconds. Now they've changed it so that when you use, I think it's when you use 2 solar or lunar spells in a row. Well, not even like spells, it's literally if you use, Wrath, I think it's called, Solar Wrath, and I forget what the other one's called for lunar spells, but it's like a 2-second castable ability, and it does like area damage, targeting a target, and then hitting everyone around it. But point in case, you use 2 of those spells in a row, and then it buffs the opposite spell school. So if you use 2 Wraths, you get like a 15-second buff to your lunar spells. If you use 2 of whatever the lunar spell is called, you get 15-second buff to your solar spells. So I guess that's supposed to be the quote-unquote balance in the spec. Like, oh, the lunar charges your solar, the solar charges your lunar. But here's the problem. Personally, when I played Balanced Druid, and I liked playing Balanced Druid during Legion and, like, somewhat in BFA and whatnot, but I quickly realized, where is the balance in this? Because what I would do, since lunar spells take longer to cast, I would just use 2 lunar spells, buff the solar spells, and then just keep using solar spells because they were faster. And I felt like I was getting off more damage because they were faster. Unless you're fighting a group, then you would do the opposite. If you're fighting like a dungeon mob, there's like 5 targets, you'd use 2 solar spells, buff your lunar spells, and use that, because now you can hit all the targets. But that's not what makes a balanced druid feel like a balanced druid. That's just lunar, solar, lunar. Like, I'm not playing a balanced druid anymore. Now I'm just... Oh, I should have used sprint there. Oh, well, it's a good thing I have sprint, huh? Alright, but... What the fuck are you? Kill it. Kill that thing. Kill that thing immediately. Fuck you, matriarch. I got something, yay. I don't know, use it, who cares? Use this, and use this. Alright, so... Basically... It doesn't feel like I'm playing a balanced druid anymore. Now it kind of just feels like you're playing a solar druid or a lunar druid, depending on the circumstance. And I guess you could argue, well, there's the balance. The balance is now, am I fighting 1 target or 5? But like that, to me, that didn't, what did I just gain? I got something, thread of stamina. Nice. All right, my cloak just got an upgrade, cool. That, to me, doesn't really feel like a balance. It doesn't feel the way a balanced druid... Oh, there's a bunch of them. It doesn't feel the way a balanced druid is supposed to play. Or at least it wasn't the original way they played. You know, you're not using both classes, spell classes, spell schools, that's the word, at the same time, like in junction with each other. Now you're just buffing one because it's better for the situation. It feels less balancy. It feels more like I'd probably just rather play a mage at that point. So, now that's just 2 examples. That's just Fury Warrior. Oh, I forgot to mention the other big thing, the other big change. They added Astral Power. They added a resource to the class. This is a big thing. This is a big part of the thing I realized. They added the Astral Power. Now, what the hell is Astral Power? Well, think of a Fury Warrior again. You build Rage and then you use Rampage, right? Well, that's kind of how Fury always played anyway, as far back as I can remember. So that's normal for a Fury Warrior. You build your resource, you spend your resource. But Balanced Druid never had Astral Power. So now they added Astral Power. And basically you cast spells, you build Astral Power, and then you spend the Astral Power on Star Surge or Starfall. And again, Star Surge, single target. Starfall, multi-target. So, what's the real... Oh, god damn it. You can't move when you collect these. What's the difference between building Astral Power and then spending Astral Power versus building Rage and spending Rage? It literally feels like I'm playing the same class, but one's a caster and one's a melee. So it really just feels like, well, there's no point to playing a balance druid now because it's the same thing. It's just a caster now. It doesn't feel unique anymore. So now we'll take another example. Shadow Priest. Warlords of Draenor. Shadow Priest. You go into Shadow form, you cast spells, mostly like DOTs, and you have like Mind Flay as your like filler, and you have Mind Seer for your AoE. And, like, I don't even... Yeah, they both existed. They got rid of Mind Seer eventually. I don't remember if that's in the game now. They eventually got rid of it, and I think it became, like, a passive that you could take to buff your Mind Flay, and it just kind of does Seer as a secondary effect. But besides the point... I'll have to kill you guys, too. Besides the point, you build well, back then, Warlords of Draenor, you put up, like, your Vampiric Touch, you put up your Shadow Word Pain, you cast your Mind Blast, it's like just a basic spell that does some good damage, has a bit of a cooldown, and then you would cast Mind Flay as, like, your filler. And then, at some point during Legion, they decided to add something called Insanity. So now you have an Insanity meter. Now, how does the Insanity meter work? Well... you build up the, you cast spells, you build up the Insanity meter, and then you have this button, right? And you press this button, and it spends the Insanity. And that's it. You build up resource, and then you spend resource. Now, before you say anything, because I know, that's not how it worked in Legion, and that is correct. Technically speaking, in Legion, they actually did it pretty good in Legion. In Legion, it was less so about building resource, spending resource. You built up your Insanity, and then you would use an ability called, I believe it was Void Form. It was Void Eruption. I don't remember where to bring this thing. You guys are trying to steal my shit right now. I don't appreciate that. You built up Void Eruption, and when you use Void Eruption, you go into Void Form, and Void Form drastically starts draining your Insanity, and it increases how much it drains, like, for the longer that you remain in it. So eventually you have to get out of it. And then basically what you would do is you would keep using abilities that generate Insanity, and you would try to keep it up as long as possible. And honestly, that made for a pretty cool playstyle. That actually made for a pretty... I don't remember where to bring this thing. I think up here. Yeah, okay. So that would make for a cool playstyle. It was very, like, fast-paced. It was very, like, you had to micromanage a lot of things. You had to really, like, know what spells you want to use first and, like, above others. And you would need a lot of targets for, like, the AoE damage to keep up your Insanity. And try to get as much time out of it as possible. Now, that was cool. This wasn't really a Legion issue. This became an issue when they added Devouring Plague. Now, I believe right now, I don't remember when it came out. It might have came out in, it was either BFA or it was Shadowlands. But they added Devouring Plague. And this is kind of where the problems started with that, too. Devouring Plague, it costs 50 Insanity to put a big DOT on your enemy. So, now that sounds fine, but here's the problem. Build resource to spend resource. Now you're no longer, you know, now it's not about building up your Insanity for Void Eruption and trying to use it at the right time and keep it up as long as possible to increase your damage output. Now it's just another copy pasta Fury Warrior thing where you're building up Insanity with your abilities and then spending them with that. Now, I believe there are other things you can spend your Insanity on in Dragonflight. I haven't played a Shadow Priest in over a year, so I'm fuzzy with it. But I do remember, just as like a basic thing here, primarily that seems to be the direction it goes. Because like even if I think Void Eruption's still in the game, I think Void Form's still in the game if I'm not mistaken. They may have changed how it actually activates. I don't remember, but now you're more, if it is still in the game, it's going to be on a cooldown. So then, when it's on cooldown, you're just building up insanity to use Devouring Plague. And again, copy pasta Fury Warrior, copy pasta Balance Druid. It all kind of blends together. So, you know, again, not really... Like, why would I need to make a Shadow Priest now if it's just the same as, like, Fury Warrior, Balance Druid? So now, I used to love experimenting with different classes, and now all the classes just feel all the same. And it's like, well, this is just a reskin of this with slightly different utility. This is just that, but slightly different abilities here and there. And, like, it gets boring, because it's like, why even have more than one class at this point? They want you to make alts. They've been trying to make the game alt-friendly, but the problem is, all of the alts play the damn same. And it gets boring. And again, keep in mind, this is all my opinion. Like, if you guys, if you out there, if you like the stuff they've done with the classes and whatnot, awesome. What is up with this item? It does not have an agility, but it has, excuse me, it is 41. Do I want to keep the Ghost Fox leggings? Probably, right? I could just upgrade the blue and then they'll be better. This has 2 sockets, though. Nah, fuck it. I'll keep the blue.
Slow down.
I'd probably upgrade the blue and it'll be better in the long run. But anyway, so yeah, like, I was an altaholic for years, like Legion and, what's it called? Drenner, I had a few characters that I was running, primarily like 3 that I kept up with, and then I would experiment with others, because I was a big PvP head. I love PvP in this game. They want me to join the class, I remember this quest. I loved PvP, so I wanted to know what can all of the classes do so I know how to counter them or I know what to watch out for. I'm facing the wrong way. I'm going to stand right here. Okay, so I used to love knowing what every class was capable of. And then I would be like, you know, I need to know how to counter them. I need to know how to, what to watch out for. I want to know what kind of cooldowns they all have. So I loved experimenting with different classes, but then again, after a while... Why didn't that one count? Then after a while, the, I guess I have to wait for them to go first, but anyway. After a while, everything just blended together, and then it felt boring, because I was like, I really want the unique classes back. I want a rogue to feel like a rogue. I want warrior to feel like a warrior. I don't want every class to feel like a pseudo-fury warrior, because then it's like... Well, now, like, fury warrior doesn't feel very unique anymore. Every class is a fury warrior. That's boring. I guess you could argue, like... That really didn't... This sucks. Now I gotta hyper-focus on this dumb quest. Yeah, I miss the uniqueness of classes. Playing Classic, like, I'm playing a Warrior in Classic, and, like, you know, it's vastly different from anything I've ever seen since Pandaria. Like, I played Pandaria, I played a lot of Drenner, and I played a lot of Legion, and, like, etc., etc. It's vastly different, but it's pretty fun. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot slower. It's, a lot more, like, you gotta really pick your battles and whatnot. 2 training bags slain. You could slay a training bag? Bet. Can I death touch it? I killed 2! Hell, oh, I have a point to spend. I have 2 points to spend. Nice. So, what do we want? Soothing Mist? Not really. I'll take Vivify, I think. I'll get Vivify up. Why not? I want, probably just increase Fist of Fury. Rising says 20% inches attack time, dealing 56, restoring a cheat. You know, I'll get that first. Fuck it. Alright, so, yeah, class uniqueness is, like, dead. I was also thinking of, like, you know, there's, like, other examples. I was thinking of, like, Frost Mage. Frost Mage may seem, on paper, unique, because it's very, like, proc-based. It's very, like, you pretty much just cast Frostbolt till something else procs. You have certain utilities like Frozen Orb and like Frost Nova to like force freeze a target, so you can cast Ice Lance and get a free frozen hit. There's some strat to it. Frost Mage was my biggest class for PvP. I played the shit out of a Frost Mage back in the day. I was a motherfucker. But then, like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, when you really think about it, Frostmage kind of feels like a Marksmanship Hunter right now, because I played Marksmanship Hunter a little bit on High Elf Archer, and I was like, you know, Arcane Shot kind of feels like Arcane Shot kind of feels like Ice Lance. Aimed Shot kind of feels like Flurry. Aimed Shot buffs Arcane Shot for a couple hits. You know what Flurry does? It buffs Ice Lance for a couple hits. I'm like, that's the same damn class. Like, it's the same thing. I'm like, this sucks. But I digress. It's not exact. It's not one-to-one the same. Like, obviously, they're different classes, but they have similar, like, things going for them to where it's like, I'd rather just play one or the other. I wouldn't want to play both. And I would prefer it if they were unique and I would want to play both, because then they feel special. What is that? Is that good? I could probably take that. That has 2 Priz, but it has no crit. Who cares? It's higher level. Take it for the item level. Oh, I have to take this out, right? Where did that go? Oh, one right here. Okay. So yeah, my biggest thing with retail, like gameplay aside, I mean, it's vastly different from Classic. Granted, this is very fast-paced. I just gained XP. Cool. It's very fast-paced. It's very button-mashy. It's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up. I said this in the Nixium video on my comment. It feels like a side-scrolling beat-em-up. And to quote AVGN, monotonous but fun. Keyword fun. Because, yeah, let's be real, button mashing is sometimes fun as shit. It's satisfying. It wears off before long, especially when you've been on-off playing it, like, a million times, like I have. It wears thin, but it's fun. When you haven't done it in a while, it's fun. It's nice to come back to, play it for a week or two, and then you're kind of like, I've had my fun with it, I'm going to move on to other stuff now. It's alright. Class identity is what kills it for me with this game, because every class just feels the same. And if you're running one character, which is probably a good thing to do. I think I just got another thing, god damn. It's probably, at this point, for me at least, I'd be better off just running one character, because for me, again, every class to me just bleeds into one another, and nothing feels unique, so might as well just run one class since they all feel the same anyway. Unfortunately, I'm an altaholic, and I love making new classes, because I love trying to experiment, but then... Holy shit! Oh, god damn! My bad, I thought he was just a rare mob. I was like, I could take this guy. I didn't even, oh, Jesus Christ. He fucking one-shot me. Homie just said, nah. Jesus. Where was I again? So, I'm a bit of an altaholic. I like having different characters. I also like just trying different races, trying different starting zones and whatnot. Having slight variations on the abilities is something. Like, again, not every class is exactly the same. They're just very similar. So, you know, making alts is still somewhat fun, even to me, but, you know, again, it kind of wears thin. And going back to the thing I said about, like, the AVGN thing, you know, it's monotonous but fun. Well, every class is, again, in that kind of monotonous but fun spectrum. Every class is just mash buttons and do damage or do healing or be a tank if you're a masochist. What is this? What is... I got a fucking bird? Can I summon it? Oh, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. I'll put him right here. Every class gets boring pretty quickly because, again, you're kind of just like, yeah, I'm just mashing this. I'm mashing this, then this, then this, then this, then this. It's just a different order you're pressing the buttons in, but you're still just constantly pressing buttons. And again, it gets boring pretty quickly. And every class is just a different pattern you're pressing the buttons in. Arguably, you could say the same thing about playing Classic. Well, what is a warrior? You charge, and then you put up your rend, and then you demoralizing shout. And if you don't have your battle shout up, you keep up your battle shout before any of this. And then you basically just sit there. you basically just sit there. Instead of mashing buttons, you're sitting there waiting for a button to show up. But that's kind of where I like the game, because it's a lot more like, you have to be more strategic, because you only have so much rage at a time to spend on things. You have to really read the situation, and then you have to figure out what would be the best option right now. It gives it a little more strategy, whereas this feels a lot more like mash the buttons in the correct order. And I probably have to kill. Get out of here. It's more like keep mashing the buttons in the correct order. It's still a puzzle in that regard, but it's just a different puzzle. It's less about figuring out what's the best ability in this situation, and more about keeping up your rotation and not standing in shit. I mean, you also got to do that in Classic as well to some degree. You don't want to stand in shit either. I think he's vulnerable now. You have to fight him. You know, but again, like, it's less constant brain processing on, like, mashing buttons over and over and, like, making sure... Oh, he has the same mount. Nice. It's less, like, stimulation to the brain in rapid succession, which I think that's where I get bored of this before long, because when your brain is constantly getting that dopamine hit, that, like, rush of, like, adrenaline where you're constantly doing shit, there's constantly things going on the screen all the time, your brain gets a bit overloaded. And I think that's where, like, nowadays, where I'm a bit older, I mean, we're talking, like, 9 years back, I was, like, playing WoW day in, day out, and I loved it. But, like, nowadays, I'm, like, older, my brain can't keep up with all this anymore. So I get burnt out on this real quick. I think I played this for, like, 10 minutes, and I was already, like, slogging on it. I was like, man, I do not want to play more of this. But I gave it, like, an hour. I played it until I had to go to bed to get up for work. But I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I was hoping to. Well, actually, I kind of went in feeling like I wasn't going to enjoy it anyway. But I was trying to give it a shot. I mean, I'm still playing it right now. I do want to see a little bit more of this. Oh, I hit level 20. Nice. I want to see where this goes by the end game. I can kind of imagine where it goes, but, you know, I'm not there yet. I really don't think I'm going to be much into it. I think it's kind of just like, I guess you upgrade your gear. I've seen the gear upgrade thing. It seems like the end game of this is you want to try to max out your gear through, like, upgrading it. Arguably, that's Dragonflight anyway, is just upgrading the gear you get, but they have, like, the raids and such to get higher gear that you can then upgrade, so it's different than this. This is more like, this item, for instance, can literally go to max item level. You just have to get the stuff to upgrade it. So it's different. I mean, that's cool. I want to, hopefully I can get to endgame in this before I just give up on it, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't want to lose out on playing Oreo. You know, Oreo's fucking lit as shit, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, my brother-in-law, who has said he's enjoying this, which is great, he's on a free trial account, so he can only go to level 20, which is what I'm at right now. Like, this is his limit. What he's doing right now is kind of like what I was doing a while back when I was playing free trial WoW before I decided to just resubscribe to the game. I was playing, like, retail, but as a free-to-play, and I had a level 20 warrior. I would go in a prot spec, go into a dungeon solo, and then just try to beat it solo. And some of them were doable, so I was able to get gear. And I was trying to min-max a level 20 character just because I didn't have to pay for the game, so I wasn't spending money. And it was honestly pretty interesting. I was having fun with it. like, just min-maxing a free-to-play account was actually pretty fun. And then I guess my brother-in-law's doing that now with this, because, you know, you can do that to some degree. You know, he's trying to get all, like, blue items, maybe purple items to replace all the greens. But that's literally what I was doing as a free-to-play back when I was doing that. Just trying to replace all my greens and questing items with blues or purples that I can get from the dungeons. I think they were blues. You could get epic upgrades, which they added to the game, but, you know, it was super rare. But that was another thing. You could do quests hoping you get that epic upgrade, and then you could get better gear. I think Legion actually had really good gear if you did the Legion quests. The gear there was like fire. But I was basically, you know, that's something I was doing. You don't have to pay for it. You can quit anytime. You can rejoin it anytime because you're not spending money on it. And you just kind of mid-max a level 20 character. And it's fun for what it's worth. Look at these guys. So he's doing that. I'm gonna, you know, again, I'm gonna try to reach the end game on this if possible. Is that rare that killed me? Yo, get the hell away from that guy. He just fucking ran up me and Mike Tyson me into oblivion. So, yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on, yeah, I guess that's all I really need to say. Those are my thoughts on, I guess, this, like, WoW in general, retail WoW. I want to say, I don't think Dragonflight's the problem. I don't think Dragonflight's particularly interesting. I mean, the story is not very interesting. The gameplay is, to me, it's just retail WoW all over again. So it's what we've already had for years that I'm burnt out on. I think Dragonflight did step up the bar a bit. Again, the talent system is pretty good. But I really like the vanilla system the best because you can just put points into whatever you want. You get total freedom to make your class how you want to make it. You're not limited to specializations. Now, granted, there's an argument someone made, because this was talked about in the Nixium video comments. Someone pointed out, like, even if you have all the specs available to you, who's running a hybrid spec in, like, late game, like, meta stuff, you know? Who's, like, running this for, like, Molten Core? You're always gonna run, like, a Frost Mage build, because Frost Mage does the best damage against fire elementals, naturally. Facts. But having the freedom of choice to alter your build at will is so much more fun than just being like, I'm a Frost Mage. I only build Frost Mage stuff. I am just a Fire Mage, you know. I think having that like, total freedom is more fun, even if you choose to just play the meta. You at least have the choice to run a different build just for the fun of it. Now, I've been playing a lot of, besides Classic WoW, I've been playing a lot of, I checked out Dragonflight, fucking hell, what is it called, what's it called? The other one, Cataclysm Classic, thank you. Cataclysm Classic. I'm level 50 on a warrior. I'm playing a warrior again. I love warrior. Shut up. I'm playing warrior on Cataclassic. I'm level 50 right now. I haven't played it in about 5 days or so because I've been trying out hardcore classic and I've been very focused on that. But Kata, I can see where the complaints come from. Kata was kind of the beginning of the end. Where, in terms of, like, you choose a warrior. Oh, I just got a blue. Nice. It's of the Ghost Fox. Oh, it's Ghost Fox Grips. It's Fubuki. Put up another picture of Fubuki, please. So, what are all these? I have to open these. I got a helm. Okay. Mastery Leech. I'll keep the Mastery. So, you pick warrior, but then it also says, like, you have to... One of our gems will be destroyed by socketing? No. Don't do anything. So, when you play Cataclassic, you pick Warrior, but then you get your first talent point at level... I believe it's at level 10. you can only put points into one of 3 trees. You still have the talent trees, but you only get to put points in one of the trees. So I chose arms. Now it tells me you need to put 30 or 31 points into arms before you can select a second tree. And immediately I was like, what do you mean? I thought you put points into like anything in this game. Apparently, Kata is where they began the specialization route, where you don't really get to build you don't play a warrior now. Now you play an arms warrior. Now you play a prot warrior. Now you play a balance druid, you know, for another class. Now you're not able to build. Oh yeah, I have to do these. All right. So now you're not playing warrior specifically. You're playing. Oh, all you have to do is throw the bottle. Oh my. So now you. Oh shit, that one's pissed. Can I throw down another one while in combat? Yes, I can. Ah no! I'm getting mauled by a fucking bear. Throw down another one. You gotta be kidding me! Fucking bear. Would you rather be trapped in the woods with a man or a bear? No. So, now this is the beginning of the end. Cataclysm was like, you know what? You're not a warrior, now you're an arms warrior. Now you're a fury warrior. I think this had to do with probably people mostly building into specific trees in, like, previous expansions. And maybe they thought it would be a lot easier to design, like, raids and stuff around, like, specialized classes. It's like, well, if you're gonna play a Fury Warrior, you're probably gonna put all your points into Fury anyway, so screw it, you're a Fury Warrior now. But, like, again, I liked having the choice to be like, yeah, I'm gonna put all my points into Fury. Yeah, I'm gonna put some points into Prot, some into Arms, and some into Fury, and then maybe dip more into Prot because I want more defense. Back when I did a lot of PvP, I would experiment with different I just put my friggin' hand in my Cinnabon. So, back when I did PvP, I would experiment with a lot of builds. So I would have like a Frost Mage, but then I would be like, well, I want to play like an AoE damaging Frost Mage, like a crowd control Frost Mage. So I would put most of my talent points into, and at the time you didn't have the trees, you had like the choose one of 3 options, and then there was like 6 or 7 tiers of it. And I would opt into like, I want to build whatever gives me more area damage, whatever gives me more, you know, like Frozen Orb can be placed, and then you can put a, what is it called? Blizzard on top of it, and then you can use like anything that gave me area damage, I would build into that, and then I would use that. And then there were times where I was like, you know what, I want to make a build revolving entirely around Glacial Spike, so I'm basically just a glass cannon building up that Glacial Spike, and then just smacking people with a giant icicle. Granted, you could still kind of do... This makes that really easy to do, because you can build into that type of stuff easily with these. But again, you don't have the total freedom of just having every spec available to you. So if I was playing a mage, like, I can't make some kind of weird Frostfire hybrid and, like, fuck around with that and, like, tinker with different talent choices and such to see, like, what works better or whatever, and what I like more. Or, like, you know, you could build, like, an arcane mage, but have certain, like, fire abilities on the side or something. You know what I mean. You can't do that anymore, and that really sucks. I really wish they'd bring that back. And again, this went as far back as Cataclysm, where they just flat out stopped allowing you to do this. Another thing people will say is, like, Cataclysm, you get talent points every other level, which there's a bug in the game where every level up, even for even level ups where you don't get a talent point, it will tell you in chat you gained 1 talent point, and then you do this, and it says 0 available. And I'm like, well, where's the talent point? And obviously it's a bug, I know that, but it's just like, you told me I get a talent point and there's nothing there. They have not fixed that. Just do not stand in that. So, yeah, that's a bit of a bug that I've noticed. It's very annoying because it tricks you sometimes when you level up and it's like, oh, sweet, you got me. But, yeah, it sucks, because every other level you get a talent point. So, I think people have said you get less total talent points by the time you hit max level compared to, like, what was it, Wrath of the Lich King? Which, that just sucks. Like, losing talent points, now you have to make, like... You lose total talent points, and you have to specialize in a talent tree. Like, you don't get that freedom anymore. That sucks. I think for Cataclassic, they should have just removed the, forcing you to specialize in a tree, and they should have just allowed you to just build whatever you want, kind of like vanilla style. But also, they should have just said, like, you know what, you keep getting a talent point every single level. Now, granted, this would change how the game plays out compared to the original Cataclysm, but here's my argument to that. So many people did not give a single fuck about Cataclassic. So who are you really hurting by just saying, you know what, we're gonna change the game a little bit. We're gonna make it better. We're gonna bring things into it that people wanted or were disappointed with. We're gonna change it. Like, why the hell not at this point? No one was excited for Cataclassic. I was, because I never played it. No one was really excited for it. I would say at that point, screw it. Just literally full send it. Just make the game totally different. I would say just like, again, I would say screw the original Cata. Fix the things people didn't like about it. Turn it into its own game. Like, make it more fun for people so they might actually give it a chance. Because a lot of people who did not like Cata are not going to come back for Cata Classic because they're not going to have fun with it. If you change the game a little bit, like kind of like we're doing what they're doing with this is probably giving a lot of people who don't really like retail, maybe it's getting them more interested in playing this. Like, I'm playing it. Again, I'm not super enjoying it. I mean, I'm playing it. I'm not, like, super enjoying it, but I'm playing it, and it's certainly something different than regular retail. So it's interesting. I like that they're trying different things, but what they should really, kind of like Season of Discovery, they took vanilla, they changed it up a bit, people are having a blast with it. Why not do the same with Cataclassic? But yeah, like, I would say just take Cataclassic. I'm repeating this like 5 times, I apologize. Take it, make it more what people would like to see out of it, and let it cook. Just let it cook. I don't think anyone's gonna miss the original Cataclassic at this point. Change it up, let it cook. It would probably be for the best. And I think it would be really fun. Having more talent points, having freedom to build the class how you want to build it, it would be infinitely more fun. And at the end of the day, people play games because they want to have fun. And it's not fun when you remove all of the fun from the game. That's all I'm going to say about that. This has been 56 minutes of Ivy rambling about WoW. I will see you guys next time. Yeah.